is now a retelling of the anime more than a married couple, but not lovers. Enjoy the movie. Akari Watanabe and Jiro Yakuin, both third-year high school students, find themselves paired randomly for their school's couples training program. This unique course assesses and judges students based on how effectively they collaborate as mock newlyweds. Learning that the top 10 A rank couples with the highest scores have the opportunity to switch partners, Akari and Jiro reluctantly agree to set aside their differences. Their aim is to accumulate enough points to exchange partners with their respective crushes, Minami Tenjin, a popular school idol, and Shirori Sakurazaka, Jiro's childhood friend. Adding an extra layer of complexity, Minami and Shirori are paired together, despite their initial reservations and the challenge of overcoming their vastly different personalities. Including a surprising kiss, the duo's score fails to improve. However, the intimate moments lead to Akari and Jiro experiencing unfamiliar emotions towards each other, prompting them to question the nature of their feelings. Akari wakes Jiro in an attempt to earn points by watching scary movies together and donning matching pajamas. Their plans take an unexpected turn when a sudden power outage locks them out of their respective rooms due to electronic locks being activated. They end up falling asleep together on the couch, comforted by the glow of a flameless aromatherapy candle. Back at school, the duo eagerly awaits the release of their scores and is surprised to discover that they've reached a B rank. However, their shock intensifies when they learn that Shirori and Minami, initially considered an ideal couple, rank among the lowest scoring pairs. Jiro, unfortunately, catches a cold, and in an unexpected twist, Shirori arrives to care for him. As Jiro rests, he encourages Shirori to focus on improving their performance in the marriage practical. Shirori, on the verge of a significant moment, refrains from kissing him. A flashback unveils Jiro's past intention to confess to Shirori during middle school, a plan halted when Shirori accidentally placed him in the friend zone. That night, as Akari returns home, Jiro recovers from his illness. The revelation surfaces that Akari orchestrated Shiori's visit, and Jiro expresses gratitude by pledging to assist Akari in getting closer to Minami. However, instead of joy, Akari's reaction appears to be a mix of sadness and annoyance at Jiro's words. With Jiro's assistance, Akari prepares a bento for Minami, intending to deliver it personally as a means of getting closer to him. Misjudging Minami's taste preferences, Akari excludes sweet foods from the bento, believing him to dislike them. However, Shirori unexpectedly drops by, presenting leftover apple pies she made for Minami, revealing his fondness for sweets. Faced with the realization of her mistake and fueled by insecurity, a saddened Akari attempts to seduce Jiro. He intervenes, reminding her that she has Minami, leaving Akari feeling defeated and shattered. She suggests they stop acting like a married couple, leading to a plummet in their practical score to E rank, while Shirori and Minami's score improves to A rank. Shirori urges Jiro to mend things with his practice wife. Jiro confesses to Akari that he genuinely enjoys their shared activities and feels a need to protect her, clarifying that he declined her advances to prevent any potential regret. He apologizes to her, asking Akari to be his wife once again. Touched by his sincerity, Akari accepts the apology, addresses him by his first name for the first time, and confesses that she likes him. As everything returns to normal, Jiro feels a sense of relief, while Akari is shocked at herself for admitting her feelings for Jiro. Akari and Jiro catch wind of a rumor suggesting that Shirori and Minami are growing romantically closer since they are the only A-rank pair yet to switch partners. After gym class, Akari encounters Minami, who confirms he won't switch as long as Shirori is comfortable with it. Overwhelmed, Akari tears up, prompting Minami to notice and gently hold her face, asking her to meet his gaze. Unbeknownst to them, Sadaharu spots the moment, and from his perspective, it appears as though they are kissing. Meanwhile, Shirori informs Jiro that she and Minami will remain together, dropping a hint that if Jiro were to reach A rank, they might become partners. Before Sadaharu can spill the beans about what he saw, Minami and Akari arrive, disrupting the conversation. Akari, feeling overwhelmed, feigns sickness and decides to skip school that day. Taking advantage of her absence, Sadaharu informs Jiro about the possibly intimate moment he witnessed. However, Jiro claims to be unfazed. When Jiro returns home, he informs Akari about what he heard, suggesting that Minami and she had a special moment. In response, Akari laughs, clarifying that Minami was merely helping her remove dust from her eyes. Realizing she has made no progress with Minami, Akari breaks down and pleads with Jiro to look away. Unsure of how to react, Jiro comforts her by embracing her while averting his gaze. Touched by this gesture, Akari continues to cry in Jiro's arms. Later that day, Akari questions Jiro about whether he truly believed she had kissed Minami. To his surprise, Akari reveals that he was the first and only person she has ever kissed. Jiro discovers that he will be partnered with Shirori for class duties, presenting an opportunity to grow closer to her. Mei Hamano, Shiori's best friend, willingly gives up her place for Shirori. Shirori comes close to mustering the courage to kiss Jiro but hesitates. Later that night, Akari asks Jiro to call her by her given name, but he hesitates. Akari points out the unfairness, stating that it seems like their love is one-sided if she's the only one using his given name. A surprise testing period is announced by the school to assess the academic performance of each couple. Although Akari initially plans to skip studying to go out with friends, Jiro convinces her to study together. Grateful for Jiro's tutoring, grateful for Jiro's help, Akari playfully teases him and begins to flirt with him. Jiro's nose is bleeding from excitement. Akari explains that her teasing is a way to help him relax as he's pushing himself too hard to keep up with Shirori. Jiro expresses his desire for Akari to be with Minami as well, explaining that by helping her academically, he feels he contributes to the group's efforts. Akari seems saddened by Jiro's words, realizing that if they switch partners, they will revert to being just classmates. Akari reverts to calling Jiro by his surname, causing Jiro to worry about a decline in the intimacy of their relationship. Sadaharu and Jiro witness Maid rejecting a girl after a confession. Maid, while apologizing and consoling the girl, is requested to call her by her given name. Excitedly, Akari informs Jiro that they have reached A rank in the latest report and playfully dries his hair. Recalling Maid's interaction with the girl, Jiro starts calling Akari by her first name, much to her delight. Maid expresses disappointment in Shirori for making no progress with Jiro. Shirori is knocked unconscious by a stray soccer ball and is sent to the infirmary. Maid informs Jiro about Shiori's condition and urges him to visit her. In the infirmary, Shirori awkwardly requests a practice kiss, but their attempt is interrupted by Sachi entering the room. As Shirori and Jiro hide, they accidentally kiss, and Jiro leaves in embarrassment. Meanwhile, Akari, trying to contact Jiro via text message, becomes depressed, thinking that Jiro has started a relationship with Shirori. Late in the evening, Akari finds Jiro passed out on the sofa after consuming chocolate laced with alcohol. Realizing Jiro had been waiting for her to share the chocolate, Akari, feeling guilty, sleeps next to him in her underwear, pleading with the unconscious Jiro to wait until they are no longer together before he starts being with Shirori. The next morning, Jiro is shocked to discover a partially dressed Akari next to him. Unable to recall the previous night, Akari took the opportunity to make Jiro believe that they were in love. Observing Jiro and Shiori's awkward expressions at school, Sachi and Natsumi approach Akari to discuss her marriage practical with Jiro. Akari expresses confusion about feeling like a third wheel between Minami, Shirori, and Jiro. Sachi and Natsumi encourage her to have confidence and not lose hope, assuring her that she has a chance with whoever she wants to be with, and they will support her decision. To boost her spirits, they invite Akari to join them at the local fireworks festival with some friends, including Minami. Excitedly, Akari asks Jiro to help her with her yukata for the festival. While debating which knot to use for her obi belt, Akari wants to ensure it suits Minami's taste. Meeting up with Sachi and Natsumi at the festival, Akari discovers that Minami couldn't make it due to work. As the night progresses, she notices Minami and Shirori together in the festival grounds. Believing they are on a date, a distressed Akari heads home. Alone on the balcony, Jiro prepares to watch the fireworks when Akari calls him, sobbing. He rushes out to find her already at their front door, and he consoles her as she cries loudly in his arms. They watch the fireworks together from their balcony, and Akari asks Jiro to redo her obi in his preferred knot. Sharing an intimate embrace, both ponder the future of their relationship. Jiro and Akari's ranking in the marriage practical falls to 13th position, meaning they have to stay together for another month. Akari interrupts Jiro during his bath, panicking over a spider. Unable to spot it again, a distressed Akari flirtatiously asks Jiro to stay with her just in case the spider reappears, even going so far as to request his company to the toilet. While discussing the possibility of dating under different circumstances, the tiny spider returns, startling Akari, who inadvertently gropes an embarrassed Jiro. Jiro suggests getting bug spray for next time, but Akari refuses, stating she prefers being rescued by her husband. As they settle in bed, Akari affectionately touches the wall separating them. Shirori confides in Minami about her kiss with Jiro and expresses fear about confessing her true feelings. Minami encourages her to have confidence and confess before it's too late. Mei echoes the same sentiment in class the next day. Shu Terafune, Mei's marriage practical partner, informs her that he won't be home for dinner as he has a job interview at the cafe where Minami works and plans to go out with Minami and his boss, Sadaharu's older brother, afterward. Shu suggests that Mei and Shirori spend the night together, but Mei backs out at the last minute, disappointing Shirori. Jiro and Sadaharu share dinner together, and Sadaharu expresses jealousy, attempting to kiss Jiro to cancel out his luck-based lechery. As Jiro tries to stop him, Shirori passes by their restaurant, seemingly observing them. Jiro rushes out to explain the situation, and Shirori, thinking he's talking about their infirmary kiss, misunderstands. Despite the awkwardness, they apologize and explain the situation as they walk home together. Sadaharu invites Jiro to join a live-in summer job at his older brother's beach cafe. Initially hesitant, Jiro changes his mind upon learning that Shirori and Mei have also applied for the same job. Returning home, he he finds Akari excitedly showcasing her new bikini for a beach part-time job. Jiro expresses discomfort, deeming it too revealing. Akari playfully teases him, acting like a real couple, and informs him that she'll wear a different swimsuit. Despite Jiro's reservations and Akari's flirtation, he reveals his summer job plans, only to discover that Akari, Natsumi, and Sachi have also applied. They are welcomed by Sadaharu's brother, along with Minami and Terafune. Minami shows them their accommodations, and the group begins their training. Lacking confidence in customer interaction, Jiro opts for kitchen duties, prompting Shirori to join him, along with Mei and Sadaharu. Meanwhile, Akari, Sachi, and Natsumi receive training in customer service from Minami and Terafune. Akari is thrilled to work with Minami, while Sachi and Natsumi playfully tease the infatuated Terafune. During work, Mei tries to bring Shirori closer to Jiro by involving Sadaharu in moving boxes outside. While practicing making drinks, Jiro accidentally sprays whipped cream on Shiori's face, leading to unintentional flirtatious touches as they clean up. Natsumi and Sachi accidentally witness the intimate moment, embarrassing both Jiro and Shirori. After training, the group enjoys time at the beach, with Sadaharu making lecherous comments about the girls' swimsuits. Oblivious, Shirori suggests that she, Mei, Sadaharu, and Jiro go to a nearby hotel together. Mei, Shirori, Sadaharu, and Jiro work on building a sandcastle near the beach hotel, disappointing Jiro as Sadaharu indulges in his lecherous tendencies. Unconsciously teasing Jiro, Shirori touches his hand while making a tunnel underneath the sandcastle. Jiro and Akari are assigned to fetch lunch from a nearby store. Two men approach Akari, and although initially unsure how to respond, Jiro gathers the courage to declare that they are married. After the encounter, Jiro awkwardly apologizes to Akari, who chastises him for ruining what could have been a chivalrous moment. Later, Akari approaches Jiro after the bath, offering to apply cream for his sunburn. Jiro, feeling uneasy, cautions Akari about the potential misunderstandings from others. Disgruntled, Akari walks away, texting Jiro to meet her at the beach shack in 10 minutes. At the shack, Jiro apologizes to Akari, but she rebukes him for apologizing without reason. Akari vents her frustration, expressing how Jiro's self-deprecating attitude and perceived indifference make her feel bad despite her excitement to be with him. As they talk, they overhear Shirori and Mei approaching, prompting Jiro and Akari to hide and play fight, scaring Shirori and Mei away. Jiro then succumbs to a mild heatstroke. Upon recovery, they reconcile, and Akari suggests making more efforts to get to know each other. While Jiro and Shirori had trouble sleeping after their respective night encounters, their coy morning encounters eventually cheered them. During work, Shirori tells Jiro about her scary encounter at the beach shack and feels nonplussed on how she will be at the Test of Courage event later that night. She unwittingly mentions to Jiro that she will be okay if they are paired together, resulting in an awkward moment as she walks out to take out the trash. An eavesdropping Sadaharu then mischievously tells Jiro that he will help them get paired. Considerately, Jiro then asks Sadaharu to help Akari pair up with Minami. With Mei's help, the plan works and the respective pairings are realized. Jiro and Shirori feel awkward while Akari is ecstatic. However, as the event goes on, Akari feels a bit confused about her feelings for Minami. She was about to check on the others using phone chat, but then found out she has lost her phone. The other pairs finish their event first, as Jiro and Shirori fail to make any progress due to Shiori's constant panicking during the event. However, they start becoming concerned as Akari and Minami have still not come back. Minami then calls and said that while they're looking for Akari's phone, they got separated. It started to rain and Jiro is bewildered with worry, despite everyone's assurance otherwise. He decides to look for Akari in the rain. Meanwhile, Akari is squatting alone in despair. Suddenly, she blurted Jiro's name in reflex as Minami found her. Meanwhile, Jiro found Akari's phone as Shirori came running to him with umbrellas. Akari embarrassingly tried to explain to a teasing Minami about her feelings for him and Jiro. Minami tells her that he knew for a while that Akari has a crush on him. However, he politely rejects her, saying he is in love with someone else. Akari thought that it was Shirori. However, Minami corrects her and says that it is a girl he knew from his past. While feeling a bit sad that Akari has moved on to Jiro, Akari assures him that her love for him was real and Minami wishes that it will work out between them. Meanwhile, Shirori similarly straightens the confusion about her and Minami to Jiro. The topic of their kiss comes up again and they confide about how confused and bewildered their feelings are, especially since the marriage practical started. Shirori sadly tells him about how lonely she feels and fears that being childhood friends won't keep them together anymore, especially now with Akari in the picture. As they embrace in the rain, they consensually share a deep kiss. The trio of Akari, Shirori, and Jiro grapple with their complex emotions, each seeking clarity in their own way. Akari turns to divine intervention, visiting a shrine to pray. Meanwhile, Shirori and Jiro are privately bewildered by the implications of their latest kiss. In an attempt to clear his mind, Jiro goes shopping for snacks and manga, only to unexpectedly encounter Shirori in the shop. Awkwardly agreeing to visit Shiori's place, they continue their confusing conversation about their recent beach trip and take a photo together when a rainbow appears. After returning home, Jiro receives a text from Akari, expressing boredom and a desire for a date in 2 hours. Despite his hesitation, Jiro agrees. As they embark on their date, Jiro remains awkward and confused, slightly annoying Akari. They visit a coffee shop, a cat cafe, go shopping, and play games at the arcade. The discussion about exchanging photos leads to Jiro's embarrassment when he notices a picture resembling a couple with a cat baby. However, Akari appears unfazed, giving Jiro the impression that she genuinely enjoys their time together. As the date concludes, Akari realizes she forgot to buy a charm and rushes to a nearby shrine, with Jiro following. Coincidentally, they encounter Shirori returning from shopping, and she asks to join Akari at the shrine. Racing together, they witness various couples and families, including a loving elderly couple with a husband named Jiro. At the shrine, they each pay their respects, and Jiro realizes the shrine is known for fulfilling romantic wishes. The episode concludes with Jiro and Akari continuing their marriage, ranked 4th in the latest report, while Shirori and Minami hold the 3rd spot. On a rainy day, Amain walks through the schoolyard and notices Mahiro, a popular classmate, sitting alone on a swing unprotected from the pouring rain. He approaches her and offers his umbrella, a small act of kindness that sets their story in motion. The consequences of his chivalry catch up with Amain the following day. His soaked clothes and exposure to the rain result in a stubborn cold. Despite feeling unwell, he trudges to school. After returning to his modest apartment where he lives alone, Amain is surprised to find Mahiro waiting inside with his borrowed umbrella. This unexpected encounter reveals that Mahiro is his next-door neighbor living alone in the adjacent apartment. Struggling with his worsening condition, Amain finds himself relying on Mahiro within the walls of his messy apartment. To his surprise, Mahiro unveils her culinary prowess, cooking a comforting bowl of porridge that eases his illness. Through this, they begin to break down barriers and discover hidden aspects of each other's lives. As Amain recovers, he learns about Mahiro's discomfort with the nickname Angel, a title the school has bestowed upon her. They decide to keep their growing friendship private at school, leading to an unforeseen outcome. Mahiro realizes Amain's reliance on takeout food and energy drinks for sustenance. Concerned for his health, she takes it upon herself to improve his eating habits. What starts as Mahiro cooking dinner for Amain gradually becomes a heartwarming routine. Their evenings together become a cherished part of their lives. Itsuki, Amain's close friend, notices the positive change in Amain's well-being and appearance, sparking curiosity. Intrigued by Amain's transformation, Mahiro takes a step further. She initiates an impromptu cleaning session in his cluttered apartment, inadvertently involving him. Laughter and camaraderie blossom during their cleaning spree, leading to a decision to break his cycle of takeout meals. Amain surprises Mahiro with a pizza order, only to learn that she has never experienced this common delight due to her wealthy background and personal chef. Amid the aroma of pizza, Amain wonders about Mahiro's motives. Why would someone with her upbringing involve herself in his humble life? As he gently probes, Mahiro maintains that she simply enjoys showcasing her culinary skills. Despite her explanation, Amain senses a deeper layer beneath her actions. Discovering Mahiro nursing a sprained ankle, Amain swiftly carries her home, dressed in his PE attire, to avoid any unwanted recognition. During their journey, Amain casually brings up his desire to savor Mahiro's cooking while it's still piping hot. Intrigued, Mahiro agrees to cook in Amain's kitchen, suggesting they split the cost of ingredients and enjoy the meal together. As they share this culinary experience, they realize the joy of dining in each other's company. Despite their lack of romantic involvement, Amain finds the arrangement unconventional due to their platonic status. Amid their studies, Amain exerts himself to achieve commendable grades. Mahiro, on the other hand, insists on maintaining top-notch scores without divulging the underlying reasons. While skimming Mahiro's student ID, Amain spots her impending birthday. This prompts him to seek advice from his friends Atsuki and Shitos for suitable gift ideas. Despite Mahiro's claim of never celebrating her birthday, she accepts Amain's thoughtful gift of hand cream and a cuddly teddy bear, resulting in genuine happiness. She also discloses her tendency to keep her birthday a secret, underscoring the significance of her acceptance of Amain's gesture. Amidst these interactions, Amain ponders whether this experience resembles the feeling of having a girlfriend, though he swiftly reminds himself of their non-romantic status. Unexpectedly, Amain's mother, Shihoko, pays a visit to his apartment. Upon finding Mahiro peacefully asleep in his room, Shihoko assumes they are either dating or on the brink of it. Following her departure, Mahiro expresses her appreciation for Amain's kind-hearted mother, highlighting the stark contrast with her own parents, who never even bothered to address her by her first name. This shared sentiment leads them to a decision: they'll use each other's first names, but exclusively in private settings. Mahiro finds herself surprised when Amain entrusts her with a spare key to his apartment. When Mahiro secures the top position in their exams, Amain celebrates her achievement by purchasing a cake, a simple gesture that she never experienced from her parents. Amid shared bites of cake, a sense of embarrassment dawns upon them, prompting a moment of realization. Despite their closeness, some lines remain drawn. Amid their dynamics, Maid decides to try his hand at cooking. However, his culinary venture takes a less than desired turn. His failure in the kitchen ends up reinforcing Mahiru's importance in his life, particularly in her role as his cook. At the insistence of their friends, Itsuki and Shitos, Maid agrees to host a Christmas Eve gathering at his apartment. Mahiru opts to stay hidden in her own space until the visitors depart, yet she makes a unique request. She asks Maid to dedicate Christmas Day to teaching her the intricacies of playing video games. As snowflakes begin to fall during the party, Shitos and Itsuki stand on the balcony, marveling at the wintry spectacle. A surprise awaits them as they spot Mahiru doing the same on her neighboring balcony. In this accidental discovery, it becomes clear that she is Main's next-door neighbor, intensifying the threads of their connection. Maid and Mahiru candidly explain their living arrangement. Itsuki and Shitos, though initially doubtful about their claim of no romantic feelings, agree to uphold their secrecy. Maid experiences a mixture of frustration over the brevity of their secret and confusion regarding his newfound emotions. Over a shared dinner, Maid and Mahiru engage in their usual routine. During the meal, Mahiru unveils that her culinary skills were acquired from a woman who cared for her. Following their plan, Maid and Mahiru embark on a day of video gaming on Christmas Day, leading to moments of endearing awkwardness as Maid takes on the role of instructor. In a surprising turn of events, Maid presents Mahiru with a Christmas gift, a charming case designed to house his spare key. Unexpectedly, a seemingly innocuous gesture, Mahiru gently sweeping Maid's hair from his face, reveals a previously unnoticed handsomeness in him. Reciprocating, Maid does the same for Mahiru, exposing a hidden beauty he had overlooked. Filled with a sense of panic, Mahiru promptly unveils Maid's gift to her, a scarf. However, their light-hearted moments take a somber turn as Mahiru succumbs to a fever. Maid tends to her, placing her in his bed to rest. In an unanticipated gesture, Mahiru grasps Maid's hand, holding onto it until sleep overcomes her. Later, she confesses that Koyuki, a maid in her parents' household, was the one who taught her to cook. Even Koyuki, however, couldn't care for Mahiru during her illness as she returned home at night. In a gesture of empathy and care, Maid promises to be by her side every night until she recovers. Amidst the evolving dynamics of their relationship, Maid grapples with a surge of anger directed at himself. The realization of his burgeoning feelings for Mahiru, feelings he's hesitant to label as love, complicates their connection in ways he never anticipated. As New Year's Day approaches, Maid's parents arrange a visit. However, Mahiru falls asleep in Maid's embrace before he has a chance to inform her about the impending visit. Maid is left with no choice but to place her in his bed and take the sofa for himself. The next morning, Mahiru awakens, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Soon after, Maid's parents arrive and Mahiru meets his father, Shudo. The trio decides to pay a visit to a shrine, although Maid remains apprehensive about encountering people from their school. While conversing with Shudo, revelations about Maid's solitary living arrangements stemming from a past incident come to light. A pivotal moment occurs as Maid witnesses Mahiru dressed in an elegant yukata, leaving him stunned. Similarly, Mahiru appreciates Maid's mature appearance in formal attire, and she openly compliments him. Not accustomed to wearing a yukata, Mahiru clings to Maid's arm throughout the shrine visit to prevent tripping. Following their visit, Maid's parents return home. However, a rumor begins to circulate at school that Mahiru visited a shrine with a secret boyfriend, with no one suspecting the boyfriend to be Maid himself. Worried about the potential impact on Mahiru's reputation, Maid cautions her against being seen with him. Frustrated by his persistently low self-esteem, Mahiru scolds Maid, passionately enumerating her positive opinions of him. Maid is taken aback by her favorable perspective, realizing Mahiru holds a much higher opinion of him than he had thought. Emotions run high after Mahiru's outburst, leaving her flustered and burying her face in a pillow for the remainder of their time together. Amidst this emotional roller coaster, Maid and Mahiru's connection continues to evolve, navigating the complexities of their feelings for one another. As Valentine's Day draws near, Mahiru discreetly distributes chocolates to her female friends to avoid sparking rumors. Maid observes Yuta Katawaki, a classmate, receiving chocolates from numerous girls. He assists Yuta by lending him a bag to carry his multitude of gifts. In the midst of this, Mahiru prepares chocolates for Maid, crafting them with care according to his preference for bitter chocolate. However, her bashfulness gets the best of her, prompting her to hastily leave the chocolates in Maid's apartment before returning to her own. Upon discovering the handmade chocolates, Maid is pleasantly surprised by Mahiru's thoughtful gesture. Yuta returns Maid's borrowed bag, inadvertently fueling some gossip among their peers. Despite Mahiru's protestations that she doesn't require a gift for White Day, Maid is determined to reciprocate. However, tensions rise when Mahiru expresses annoyance that Maid's birthday coincided with Christmas and he didn't inform her about it. She demands they celebrate his upcoming birthday but becomes becomes flustered by the implications of such a commitment. For White Day, Maid presents Mahiru with a flower bracelet and a anything you want coupon. Eager to use the coupon, Mahiru requests that Maid help her put on the bracelet, a gesture that fosters intimacy between them. Maid's struggle to suppress his burgeoning feelings intensifies, becoming increasingly difficult to bear. Itsuki, their perceptive friend, deduces that Maid's fear of rejection is what's holding him back from expressing his emotions. A significant moment occurs when Maid accidentally brushes Mahiru's hand, resulting in Mahiru sharing an unexpected revelation. She discloses her discomfort with boys touching her, but admits that she doesn't mind it when Maid does. These interactions leave Maid grappling with emotions he's unsure how to navigate. Amidst it all, he begins to worry that Mahiru's behavior is reminiscent of a newlywed wife. Following a disagreement with his father, Itsuki temporarily moves in with Maid. Much like Mahiru's usual routine, Itsuki also benefits from Mahiru's culinary skills. During his stay, Itsuki attempts to coax Maid into confessing his feelings for Mahiru, yet his efforts prove fruitless. Chitose invites herself to Maid's apartment, and Mahiru agrees to let her sleep in her own place. In an attempt to encourage Mahiru to confront her emotions, Chitose's efforts fall short. After Itsuki's departure, Maid and Mahiru attempt to restore a sense of normalcy. However, their plans are disrupted when Mahiru is visited by a woman who delivers hurtful insults and declares she won't return after Mahiru graduates from university. In a vulnerable moment, Mahiru confides in Maid, revealing that the woman is Seo, her mother, a figure who has harbored animosity toward Mahiru since her birth. The circumstances of Mahiru's birth were the result of her parents' marriage for business reasons, with her existence as an unintended consequence. Consequently, she was raised by servants, including Koyuki. Her parents' plan is to endure her presence until she graduates from university, at which point they intend to end their marriage. Mahiru's revelation provides insight into her struggles and the source of her insecurities. The moment Maid extended kindness to her on the rainy day, he unknowingly saved her from a dark place. As Mahiru opens up, Maid offers a comforting presence, allowing her to release her emotions. Their emotional connection deepens as they acknowledge the importance of each other's presence in their lives. Under the blooming cherry blossom trees, they share a brief hug and hold hands, solidifying the unspoken bond that has grown between them. Through shared experiences and vulnerability, Maid and Mahiru's connection continues to mature, offering them solace, understanding, and the potential for a deeper, more profound relationship. In the new term, Maid and Mahiru find themselves in the same class, allowing their interactions to grow. Yuta begins conversing with Maid more frequently, deepening their connection. Mahiru, displaying a newfound smile and embracing a more affectionate demeanor, shocks Maid by requesting him to rest his head in her lap. Though initially perplexed, Maid finds solace in this unusual request and eventually drifts into slumber. Mahiru makes it clear that Maid is the only one allowed to witness this side of her. Driven by his desire to bring her joy, Maid continues to win stuffed animals for Mahiru. When she offers to fulfill a wish of his in return, he chooses pudding, yet her reaction suggests she hoped for a different choice. Embarrassed but sincere, Maid shares that her cooking is the highlight of his day. The dynamics between Mahiru and Maid shift unexpectedly when Mahiru experiences jealousy over Yuta's ability to interact with Maid openly. Determined to close the gap, she starts engaging with Maid more casually at school. This leads to a group cooking project that brings Maid, Mahiru, Itsuki, and Chitose together. Chaos ensues as other students in the kitchen nearly cause a mishap that threatens to burn Mahiru. In a decisive moment, Maid rushes to her rescue, underscoring his protective instincts. Mahiru observes that Maid's embrace lingers slightly longer than necessary, attracting envious glances from their peers. While Mahiru hopes Maid won't be bothered by the attention, she remains visibly distressed by the lengthy timeline before they can openly interact without reservation in public. With a week off from school on the horizon, Mahiru proposes that she and Maid go out together. Maid readily agrees, and they plan a day that includes visiting a cat cafe, exploring an arcade, and going shopping. Mahiru takes it upon herself to give Chitose cooking lessons, although Maid dozes off in the process. After Chitose departs, Mahiru confesses that she cheekily pinched Maid's cheek while he slept. As they prepare for their day out, Maid is pleasantly taken aback by Mahiru's choice to dress up for the occasion and style her hair. Throughout the day's activities, almost without conscious intent, they find themselves holding hands, further solidifying their connection. During their visit to the cat cafe, Maid draws parallels between Mahiru and the feline inhabitants, initially reserved, then affectionate and desiring attention. At the arcade, Mahiru wins a toy cat for Maid. In a moment of near intimacy, Maid almost reaches out to touch Mahiru's hair, but their interaction is interrupted by the arrival of Yuta, who quickly pieces together the evolving nature of their relationship. Maid's self-deprecating comment sparks Mahiru's curiosity about the origins of his low self-esteem. The next day, Yuta's probing questions prompt Maid to confront his feelings for Mahiru. Later, at home, Maid catches Mahiru engrossed in looking at his childhood photographs that were emailed to her by his mother. A playful struggle for her phone results in Maid falling atop Mahiro, the proximity nearly leading to a kiss. However, he resists the impulse, instead playfully pinching her cheek. His action inadvertently evokes a sense of disappointment in Mahiro, though he can't see her expression. As their emotions grow and their connection deepens, Maid and Mahiro continue to navigate the complexities of their feelings, occasionally restrained by their own uncertainties and hesitations. As Mother's Day approaches, Mahiro questions Maid's refusal to even return home to see his mother. Maid finally opens up, recounting a painful experience from his junior high days. He had friends who manipulated him for his money, shattering his trust in others. This betrayal left him unable to rely on even his other friends, ultimately leading to his decision to switch schools. In response, Mahiro offers her unwavering support, assuring him that he can always lean on her during difficult times. Rumors swirl at school suggesting Mahiro went on a date with a guy. Confirming the rumor, Mahiro privately explains to Maid that the person in question is the most significant figure in her life. Later, she emphasizes this truth to Maid, revealing that she harbors no feelings for her parents and treasures her friends above all else. Among her friends, Maid holds a special place in her heart. Feeling a sudden urge to improve his appearance, Maid embarks on an exercise regimen. However, his subconscious desires begin to affect his behavior toward Mahiro. An unsettling dream of an intimate encounter with Mahiro leaves him acting strangely around her. Confused and hurt, Mahiro's emotions are eased when Maid admits to the embarrassing nature of his dream. Despite her initial discomfort, Maid's candidness helps break the tension, and they even find humor in the situation. With exams approaching, Mahiro makes a promise to Maid: if he manages to secure a spot in the top 10, he can once again rest his head in her lap. Alongside this, she reveals her love for taking care of him, utilizing a term that carries significant weight. For Maid, Mahiro's use of the word love is both overwhelming and exhilarating, signaling a new level of their connection. Maid's hard work pays off, and he scores 6th in the exams. Celebrating his achievement, he playfully insists that Mahiro deserves a reward for securing the first position. However, Mahiro dismisses the idea, stating that her wish isn't something Maid can provide. She then surprises him by requesting that he rest his head in her lap while she runs her fingers through his hair. As Mahiro dozes off, Maid finds himself in an unexpected situation. He has to carry her to her own apartment. In a half-awake state, Mahiro invites Maid to sleep beside her in her bed, an invitation he resists. The following morning, Mahiro is embarrassed by the previous night's events. She's also frustrated by the burgeoning physical desires she's starting to feel toward Maid. However, Maid purposefully misunderstands her hints, adding a playful touch to their interaction. With the arrival of summer, Mahiro transitions to her summer uniform, deliberately showcasing her bare legs without tights. This strategic move prompts Maid to admit that he finds her legs appealing. In response, Mahiro candidly acknowledges that she had wanted him to notice them. Although Maid becomes upset upon overhearing girls gossiping about Mahiro, she calmly accepts that such attention comes with her popular public persona. Maid reassures her that he prefers the genuine version of her that she reveals in private, a sentiment that both embarrasses and delights her. In the wake of their conversation, Maid playfully threatens to silence Mahiro with a kiss if she persists in teasing him. Unexpectedly, Mahiro takes it a step further and plants a kiss on his cheek, leaving him utterly taken aback. The tension between them is palpable when they're back at school, leading Itsuki to worry that they might be in the midst of a disagreement. Privately, they both agree that the kiss was insignificant, yet there's an underlying unease that neither can fully shake off. As they discuss the upcoming sports day where they'll both be participating in the scavenger race, they attempt to re-establish their normal dynamic. During the scavenger race, an event orchestrated by Chitos, Maid and Mahiro choose each other as the items to find, despite being on opposing teams. This decision bewilders their peers when it's revealed that Maid was supposed to find someone beautiful and Mahiro someone special. The revelation leaves the entire school astonished. The male students react with anger, and Maid takes a stand against their idolization of Mahiro as an angelic figure. To him, she's simply Mahiro, and he prefers her that way. Mahiro also chastises the boys for their intrusive behavior, reminding them that her personal life is not their concern. In a private moment, Mahiro apologizes to Maid for the trouble her actions may have caused him. Unexpectedly, Maid turns the tables and apologizes for not acknowledging her feelings earlier. He then fully reveals his own emotions, confessing his affection and asking her to be his girlfriend, an offer that Mahiro gladly accepts. Their journey of understanding and connection reaches a pivotal moment. Hibiki Sakura and Ayaka Uehara are walking home from Koyo Women's Academy when Ayaka notices that Hibiki has gained weight and suggests that she should go on a diet. A week later, Hibiki heads to the Silverman gym, where she notices that Akemi Soriyuan, a schoolmate, wants to join too. They look at one of the training rooms and notice that all of the members are buff, which causes Akemi to instantly join. When Naruto Machio, one of the trainers, introduces himself to Hibiki, she joins as well. The next day, Machio instructs them to try the bench press. When Hibiki goes to relax, Machio comforts her. Suddenly, he poses and she notices that he has a buffed up figure. At school, Hibiki is sore from the gym and Ayaka notices that Hibiki is still gaining weight. Later, Machio instructs Hibiki to try doing squats. After training, Akemi notices that Hibiki likes to eat. When Hibiki reveals how much she eats per day, Akemi states how amazing Hibiki is and how she wants them to become strong and macho together. At the gym, Hibiki weighs herself and notices that she still gained weight. When she asks Machio for advice to lose weight, Akemi tells Hibiki to try the lat pull-down machine. After using it, they visit the gym's bar and Akemi offers Hibiki more protein. The next day, Akemi convinces Hibiki to go to the swimming pool to get some exercise. Later at Ayaka's house, Hibiki and Ayaka are watching a movie. Just as they are about to watch more movies, Ayaka's sister, Nana, asks her to help her out and bring Hibiki along too. To Hibiki's surprise, she finds out that Ayaka's family owns a boxing gym called the Glory Gym. Nana reveals that their dad taught them how to box. When Ayaka stops to rest for a moment, Hibiki notices her physique and asks about how she works out. Ayaka tells her about some of the exercises that she does. Afterwards, Nana suggests that Hibiki should try the punching bag. When she punches it, the bag breaks. Satomi Tachibana and Rumika Aina are teachers at Koyo Women's Academy and Satomi thinks she has gained weight. Rumika gives her a pamphlet to try the Silverman Gym. When Satomi arrives at the gym, she notices that Hibiki and Akemi are there as well. Machio introduces himself to Satomi and instructs her to use the dumbbell. During the training, Satomi becomes very nervous when Akemi notices that she has a tan on her stomach. It is later revealed that Satomi is a famous cosplayer. At school, Hibiki, Akemi, and Ayaka are having lunch. Here, Ayaka finds out that Hibiki and Akemi are working out at the same gym. When they comment about their bentos, Akemi convinces Hibiki to try a certain diet. At an event, Satomi is cosplaying until she sees Hibiki and Akemi. However, they do not notice her as they spot Machio cosplaying at the event as well. As such, many of the photographers focus their attention on Machio instead. Later that night at her house, Satomi still wonders who Machio was cosplaying as and is confused why he is known as the Muscle King. When Hibiki arrives at the Silverman Gym, she notices that Akemi is staring at the training room. Machio explains to them that during prime time, there is an influx of regular and new members working out. Machio instructs Hibiki and Akemi to try the chest press. When prime time ends, Ayaka unexpectedly shows up, revealing that the Glory Gym is taking in newer members and the Silverman Gym asked her to teach boxing. The next day, when the trio wants to work out, Akemi suggests that they go to her house. When they arrive at her mansion, Akemi goes to find a training manual. Ayaka wants to try an exercise from the manual by using chairs. Later, Hibiki attempts to do an enhanced version of the exercise, but she inadvertently breaks the chairs and ends up apologizing to Akemi. For the rest of summer break, the girls decide to go to the beach. However, they see a sign that forbids swimming due to sharks. Akemi suggests that they should try the burpee. This is then followed by Ayaka suggesting that they go sprinting. At school, Rumika tells the class to choose the event for sports day. The class decides on doing a 400-meter relay. At the gym, Machio suggests the girls should train their hamstrings by doing leg curls. The next day, the girls are walking to school when Hibiki complains about how sore she is due to the exercise. Later, the final event of sports day is the relay with Hibiki and Akemi serving as the anchors for their respective classes. While awaiting her turn, Hibiki remembers how Machio instructed her to try the bicycle crunch. When her turn finally comes, her classmate drops the baton. Picking it up, Hibiki continues the relay and finishes in second place behind Akemi. However, she receives the unfortunate news from Satomi that her class is disqualified because she illegally picked up the baton. At the gym, Machio gives the girls raffle tickets as a way to celebrate the Silverman Gym being open for 6 months. Afterwards, they head to gym's sauna. While everyone is relaxing, Hibiki makes a bet to see who can stay in there the longest, which she wins. She then receives some t-shirts from the raffle. On her way to the Silverman Gym, Hibiki sees a sale for a home theater system. At the gym, the girls see a flyer promoting an arm wrestling tournament. When Hibiki asks Machio about the tournament, he explains the rules of arm wrestling. In the first match, Hibiki easily defeats Ayaka. Machio then wins the next match when he overpowers Hibiki with his strength. On the day of the tournament, Hibiki finds out that there are only 2 people competing in the women's division, herself and a Russian named Gina Boyd. The match ends with her easily winning against Gina. Several days later, Gina transfers to Hibiki's school. When asked what kind of training she did, Gina reveals she mostly took sambo classes and she does arm wrestling and kipping as well. After school, Gina tells Akemi that she cannot make to the gym because she is meeting her host family. Later that night, Hibiki discovers Gina is staying with her. At school, Gina reveals she watched anime and Jackie Chan movies in order to learn the Japanese language and understand the culture. After school, Gina is shocked to find out that the gym is closed for the day. Hibiki decides to invite Akemi, Ayaka, and Gina to her job. Once they arrive there, she reveals that she works at her brother's yakiniku restaurant. After her break is over with, Hibiki complains about her gym and food expenses. Akemi then tells her that she can ask the school to cover her gym expenses since her sister is the chairman. The next day, Satomi is teaching the class when Gina realizes that she is the famous cosplayer Yuri Ariko. Later that day, Gina hangs out with Satomi and suggests that they jog to Akihabara. When Satomi asks Gina why she wants to go there, she reveals that she wants to form an idol group. At an idol audition, Kotaro Deer, the director, complains until the girls show up. Despite the fact that they have captivated the audience, which includes a moment where Satomi does a deadlift, they do not make the cut. When Satomi leaves the teacher's lounge, Rumika and Yakusha wonder why Satomi has been so busy lately until Rumika sees her Silverman gym card. They then head to the gym where they meet Satomi and their students. Machio introduces himself to them and instructs everyone to try the side bend. Afterwards, Rumika and Yakusha head home. In November, the second-year students are on a field trip where they are hiking up a mountain. During the hike, Yakusha explains the proper technique and exercise for hiking. However, Hibiki, Satomi, and Rumika end up falling behind the group. As a result, they take the wrong trail, causing them to freak out. Once they calm down, Satomi notices a tree and explains how to do tree and rope climbing. As they are climbing the tree, Yakusha realizes that they went to the athletic corner of the mountain. Meanwhile, a mysterious man tells his secretary to book a trip to Japan. Arriving in Japan, the mysterious man tells his secretary that he is heading off. Meanwhile, at the Silverman gym, Machio instructs the girls to try to do back extensions. Just then, the mysterious man arrives, who is revealed to be the famous movie star Harnold Dojijin Schnegger. When asked about how he knows Harnold, Machio reveals that Harnold was his mentor while he was studying in America. Harnold tells Machio that he had recently found his location. After Machio crushes a hand grip, Harnold invites him to a bodybuilding competition. The next day, the girls arrive at the bodybuilding competition where Harnold escorts them to the VIP section. There, he explains the rules of the competition. When it is Machio's turn, he does a pose that is so powerful it causes the other competitors to concede defeat. Congratulating Machio on his victory, Harnold reveals that the competition was a test and he invites Machio to compete against him in Las Vegas. Machio tells him that he is not sure he can make it due to his job. At the gym, Harnold's secretary, Jason Scatham, introduces himself to everybody and reveals that he is staying in Japan. The girls are hanging out together during Christmas time. However, they become despondent when they realize that they do not have boyfriends. At the gym, Machio and Satomi try to cheer them up to no avail. Machio then tells everyone that a Christmas party will be held at the gym. While they are training, he instructs them to try to do some skull crushers. At the Christmas party, the girls are enjoying themselves when Machio announces that the winner of the raffle contest will receive 2 tickets to Tachijai Destinyland. While Machio is posing, Akemi explains that it is actually a type of training. Afterwards, it is revealed that Satomi won. However, she cannot go because she is too busy, and she gives the tickets to Akemi. When asked, Akemi reveals that she is going with Machio. At Tachijai Destinyland, the girls follow Akemi and Machio around. When Hibiki and Gina catch up with them, Akemi and Machio reveal that they are entering a cosplay event. He also takes the time to talk about the incline bench press. Meanwhile, a separated Satomi runs into Rumika while both of them are in cosplay, much to their chagrin. On New Year's Eve, Hibiki and Gina are home when Akemi and Ayaka show up. Meanwhile, Satomi and Rumika are having a drinking party at Satomi's house. Walking around, the girls decide to head to a shrine. When they arrive, Akemi reveals that the muscle god is worshipped at the shrine. Ayaka then explains the exercise of stair climbing. When they reach the top, they find out that Machio's family owns the shrine and he works as a priest during the holiday. The next day, the girls are hanging out. When they arrive at a park to do a street workout, Akemi sifts through her training manual and they decide to do an isometrics workout. Later, Gina proposes that they enter a hidden talent show. At the talent show, Kotaro complains when the girls show up. Satomi does a wrestler's bridge while Ayaka sits on her. To his surprise, Kotaro learns that the talent show was a ratings success thanks to the girls. As he is heading out, Kotaro runs into Jason, who hands him a flyer promoting a trip that is being organized by the Silverman Gym. At the Silverman Gym, Machio tells Hibiki and Akemi that the gym is organizing a trip to Nakunashima for spring break. He also reveals that excluding Jason, everyone will be going as well. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Jason and Kotaro has the gym under surveillance. Arriving at Nakunashima, the group is enjoying enjoying themselves. Machio then arrives with a melon. Deciding to have a melon bash, Machio explains the shrug exercise. Afterwards, the girls enter the Miss Nikunoshima contest. During the contest, Akemi does handstand push-ups. While she is doing this, Machio takes the time to explain push-ups. When it is Hibiki's turn, she displays her punching power. When it is revealed that they are tied in first place, they compete in a bench press battle, which Akemi wins. Later, it is revealed that Jason and Kotaro are stranded at sea. At the beach, Hibiki and Akemi talk about how much they have grown thanks to their training. Just then, they spot something heading their way. Arnold meets with everyone and reveals that he rescued Jason and Kotaro. Afterwards, Hibiki weighs herself. Once she sees the results, she leaves in a very happy mood. A young boy known as the Duke of Death is cursed by a witch, so any living thing he touches dies, so his noble mother banished him to a mansion far away. He is served by a maid, Alice, a childhood friend who, despite knowing his touch would be fatal, enjoys tempting him with her body so she can enjoy his reactions, and is the only one who spends time with him. Another childhood friend, Philip, asks if he can visit, and Duke agrees as he hopes to have friends again. Philip arrives with guards who deter Duke from getting too close, ruining Duke's hopes. Philip is scared when Duke accidentally touches a plant which withers away, and tries to convince Alice to leave Duke, whom he calls a monster. Philip reveals Duke's mother forced him to visit as a spy, revealing she hopes to replace Duke as family heir with his younger brother and cut Duke off from the family entirely. Philip then leaves, swearing to never visit again. Duke is heartbroken but swears to one day break his curse and repay all Alice's kindness by confessing his love and asking her to marry him. Rob, Duke's elderly butler, returns to work, but Duke worries as Rob has bad eyesight and is constantly in danger of bumping into Duke. Duke begins focusing on his piano, hoping to one day make a living writing songs. He plays Alice a song he wrote for her, and Alice almost kisses him after he falls asleep. Duke is abruptly visited by his sister Viola, who has an annoying girly personality. Viola instantly sees Duke is smitten with Alice and teases him. She surprisingly tells Duke to break his curse quickly so he can come home. She then bumps into Rob accidentally, revealing she has a crush on him. A cat wanders into the mansion, putting Duke on edge as he can't predict if the cat will try to touch him. Rob finds a confusing note in its collar asking for forgiveness, leading Duke to believe the cat was abandoned. Releasing it outside, Duke sees it actually has a wife and several kittens. Later that night, Duke asks Alice to dance, and though it is difficult, they manage to waltz without touching. With the dance over, Duke nervously asks Alice how she feels about him, and she admits she loves and adores him. Alice asks Duke to a festival in town, with Duke in a costume heavy enough he won't pose a danger. A masked woman named Daleth recognizes Alice as Sharon Lendrot's daughter. Duke helps a lost child feel better by playing a piano, his skill causing the crowd to dance. After seeing a novelty mask of his face, Duke realizes rumors about his curse are spreading. Alice tells Duke a tale about a princess whose prince was imprisoned on the moon, so every year she sends him a kiss. Duke becomes depressed that even on a date he cannot touch Alice, but she assures him being close is enough. Later, Alice summons him to her room, and while she pretends it is for perverted reasons, she just helps him relax so he can sleep. Duke invites her on a boat to watch a meteor shower, but when she falls in, he is unable to catch her. Alice demands a kiss even if it kills her, but when he refuses, she reveals it was a trick so she could tip him in the water as well. They miss the meteors and Duke is upset he couldn't tell Alice he loves her like he planned. Alice doesn't mind and tells him to try again at the next meteor shower in 10 years. Duke worries when Alice stops teasing him, but is relieved to discover she just has a cold. After she recovers, Alice asks Duke to spend the day in the snow and gives him a scarf she knitted. Returning inside, Alice notices she dropped an earring that belonged to her mother. Duke sneaks outside to locate it but passes out in the cold. A nearby bat transforms into a girl and helps him recover. When she discovers he is a noble helping a maid, she decides he has potential, uses magic to find the earring, and introduces herself as Cuff, a witch. Duke invites her inside where Alice is happy he found her earring. Cuff explains she distrusts humans as witch hunters killed her parents, and being half-human witches avoid her, so she never learned about curses. She reveals her friend might know something, but when Duke suggests she seems to really like her friend based on how much she trusts him, she jumps out a window and vanishes. Alice reminisces about one of the last times Duke was able to touch her, defending her from bullies, and he claims snow makes her look like a snow fairy. Viola visits and declares Alice must learn how to make a cute face. Unfortunately, Alice is already a master of appearing cute towards Duke, whereas Viola embarrasses herself making a cute face at Rob. Viola insists on helping Alice cook, but keeps getting distracted by Rob. She admits to being jealous Duke has people to support him through his curse and reminds him to find a cure before their younger brother becomes heir. Duke takes Alice ice skating and meets a white crow that transforms into a human named Zane, a magic user and Cuff's friend. Alice reveals she actually found Cuff in her bat form on the ice and helps her warm up. They decide to take part in ice skating, where Duke becomes jealous Cuff and Zane can have physical contact, whereas Zane is jealous Duke and Alice can be honest about their feelings. Cuff decides to take Duke to the next witch's sabbath, where Duke might locate the witch that cursed him. Viola decides to stay the night in Alice's room, where they discuss love and Viola's desire for an older sister, since her mother tended to ignore her. Alice advises Duke to pay more attention to his sister in the future. Duke realizes that his conservatory is overgrown. Using his curse, he kills the unnecessary plants, then, despite them being dead, braids the flowers into a crown for Alice. A cat steals Alice's gown while she showers, forcing her to wear Duke's coat and allowing ample opportunities to tease him. They find the gown ruined, which upsets Alice as it was one Duke liked. She wears her uniform instead, and Duke must refuse her invitation to shower together. Cuff and Zane take Duke and Alice to the Sabbath disguised as witches. Duke is surprised when the Sabbath turns out to be an administrative meeting lasting only 5 minutes. Duluth, the Sabbath leader, confronts Alice and Duke, revealing she only met Alice's mother once and also met Duke as a child. She also reveals the witch who cursed Duke is dead, but she had been a genius magic user, so Duke's curse probably cannot ever be removed. She then burns their disguises, forcing them to flee. Duke wonders why Zane and Cuff helped them, so Cuff explains about his potential and promises their next visit will be as friends. Despite the bad news about his curse, Duke is determined to find a cure. Alice buys a witch's pot to brew a potion that supposedly removes curses, but it does not work. Alice has Duke perform a song which, if played perfectly, can cure curses. Duke begins playing and is visited by the ghost of the songwriter, who distracts Duke by trying to molest Alice, but Alice foils him. Duke finishes the song, but the only curse lifted is the ghost, who moves on, having heard his song played perfectly. Duke learns about the suspension bridge effect from Viola and decides to scare Alice, but Duke becomes terrified instead when he nearly curses a flower Rob has been cultivating for 50 years. Rob is actually grateful, as jewelry belonging to Duke's grandmother, stolen by a maid decades ago, was hidden in the flower pot and can now be returned. Duke and Alice wake up in a fantasy land, having been put in a magical sleep by a book on curing curses. Alice has Duke grope her breast, but as it is a dream, Duke is disappointed he can't actually feel it. They spend all night trying to catch a white rabbit for a girl in a blue dress and decide to end the dream with a kiss, but Duke wakes up in his own library before they can. Cuff asks Duke to teach her to read and write to impress Zane. Walter, Duke's brother, is annoyed their mother still wants Duke as heir and that Viola prefers Duke over him, since Walter has a severe inferiority complex about being the younger brother. Viola visits Duke and encounters Cuff. She attempts to apprehend her as an intruder but is embarrassed when Rob sees her sat on top of another woman. During a snowstorm, Alice reminisces about her first time at the mansion when Duke was younger, still depressed about his curse, and would destroy entire rooms in the mansion from anger. At first he rejected Alice, but having been his childhood friend, she refused to leave him alone, so he set her a challenge: clean his bedroom he had destroyed in 3 days or be fired. Alice cleaned the room in a single night, so Duke ran away. After almost dying in the cold, Alice found him and scolded him for trying to kill himself, knowing there would be people who would miss him, especially when she was alone and sick. As a child, he was the one who helped her feel better. Duke agreed to return to the mansion with her and realized he had begun to fall in love with her. Viola decides to gift Rob a handkerchief at Duke's Christmas party. Walter illicitly follows Viola to Duke's mansion, disguised as her driver. Zane reveals he may have feelings for Cuff and attempts to compliment her, but Cuff falls asleep and it is uncertain if she heard him. Viola drops Rob's gift, which is picked up by Walter as he sneaks in, hoping to see Duke depressed and alone. He disguises himself as Santa but is caught by Cuff, who thinks he is the real Santa and tries to help by dropping him down the chimney. Duke is happy to see Walter, as they have not seen each other in years. Walter confronts Duke about the unfairness of existing only as Duke's potential replacement. Duke settles an argument between Viola and Cuff over Rob's gift, which Cuff mistakenly thought was her gift from Santa. Walter wagers with Duke that whoever discovers the cure to Duke's curse becomes the heir. Walter tries to leave but ends up stubbornly stuck outside in the snow, having remembered he is Viola's driver and can't leave without her. After the party, Alice teases Duke with a request for a kiss under mistletoe, causing Duke to remember the first time he told Alice he loved her. Alice dreams about her mother, Sharon, maid to Duke's mother when Duke was young. Viola notices their mother is angry they missed Christmas dinner. Zane sends Cuff shopping alone after Viola criticized him for his habit of doting on her. Cuff manages the shopping but almost injures a young pickpocket, forcing Zane to revert to his habit of saving her. Duke has trouble sleeping, so Alice decides to get in bed with him, except her sleeping nude makes his sleeplessness worse. She asks about his mother and Duke claims he would leave the family if she parted him from Alice. Alice is troubled Duke may be forced to choose between her or his family one day. Rob remembers being ordered to raise Duke away from the family, becoming a surrogate father, but blamed himself for Duke's isolation and depression until he brought in Alice, someone close to Duke's age who has become precious to him. Duke asks Alice to sing while he plays the owl and the pussycat on the piano, though they both end up embarrassed. Alice returns to her room despondent that, despite Duke's confidence, they will likely be parted when his curse is broken. Viola searches the family mansion for clues and finds a servant's logbook. Viola's mother forces her to start wearing dresses to prepare for marriage. Instead, Viola moves in with Duke and reveals the logbook written by Alice's mother Sharon. Daleth spies on this and gives Zane a message. Alice discovers from the logbook 2 witches visited the mansion around when Duke was cursed, Daleth and another. Zane passes on the message that Duke should stay away from all witches, but Zane has no intention of obeying. Alice later overhears Duke telling Zane how much he loves her. Zane steals the logbook, intending to burn it after Daleth threatened Cuff, but when Duke catches him he feels guilty and returns the logbook, warning Duke it contains something secret about Daleth. Duke tells him to burn it for Cuff's safety, so instead Zane disintegrates it, telling Duke that Daleth is watching, but once she stops he can use his secret magic to restore the logbook from the single remaining piece. Daleth is satisfied the logbook is gone and ceases spying, but privately reveals she is Sharon's body in a coffin, though it is not revealed if she is dead or asleep. Duke is surprised to receive a letter from his mother summoning him to the main house for the first time in years. Duke sees his mother, but she sends him to bed so they can talk in the morning. Duke is surprised when Viola claims Gerbera was actually in a good mood. Gerbera mistakes Alice for Sharon, whom she was good friends with, and becomes unexpectedly emotional. Viola takes Duke to the garden where the witch cursed him to love no one, be loved by no one, and live a life of misery. Viola tells Duke she and Walter are jealous of Duke since at least he lives away from their mother. At dinner, Gerbera explains that with their father terminally ill they must decide on the family heir and gives Duke until spring to break his curse or Walter will become heir. Duke gives an impassioned speech about his love for Alice, but when Gerbera refuses to let him marry a maid he accuses her of treating her children like possessions before storming out. Privately, Gerbera is proud Duke was able to stand up to her. Duke returns home with Alice and tells her what he said to Gerbera, but he still wants to marry her no matter what. Alice waits for Duke to fall asleep before saying that she loves him too. Hayakawa Private Academy stands as one of Japan's most prestigious institutions, a place where admission is reserved exclusively for the elite. This school operates under an entirely unique system, one ruled by the student council, and its hierarchy is governed by an ominous world of gambling. In this unusual domain, the most adept gamblers bask in popularity, wealth, and authority, while those who fall into debt are relegated to the status of pets, forced to serve the whims of their fellow students. Into this highly competitive and treacherous environment steps Yumiko Jabami, an enigmatic second-year transfer student with an aura of mystery. She is introduced to the school by Ryota Suzue, once a regular student who, after losing a gamble to Mary Satone, the top gambler in their class, has become a pet. Mary promptly challenges Yumiko to a game of modified rock-paper-scissors, Jenkinpon. While Yumiko initially loses, she boldly proposes a final bet, involving a staggering 10 million yen in cash. It is during this high-stakes showdown that Yumiko reveals how Mary had manipulated the votes of their classmates, allowing her to predict Yumiko's moves. Yumiko skillfully exposes Mary's underhanded tactics, effectively turning the tables and securing victory in the game. As a result, Mary finds herself plunged into debt. In a surprising gesture, Yumiko shares a portion of her winnings with Ryota, expressing her gratitude for adding excitement to the game and extending the hand of friendship to him. This encounter marks the beginning of Yumiko's journey within the cutthroat world of Hayakawa Private Academy, where gambling prowess and strategy are the keys to survival and success. After her defeat at the hands of Yumiko, Mary is relegated to the status of a pet within the school's hierarchical system. Her loss serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure in the world of gambling at Hayakawa Private Academy. Soon, Yumiko is confronted with a new challenge, this time from Itsuki Sumeragi, a first-year student council member known for her impeccable card-playing record and the daughter of Japan's foremost toy company CEO. Itsuki proposes a high-stakes game of double concentration, utilizing 2 decks of cards created by her father's company. In this intense match, Itsuki manages to secure a 20 million yen victory over Yumiko, although the game remains incredibly close. Despite Yumiko's financial constraints following her loss, Itsuki accepts her opponent's request for a rematch, but under a chilling condition: if Yumiko loses again, she must surrender her fingernails and toenails to be added to Itsuki's extensive collection. Itsuki employs a cheating strategy involving heat-activated patterns in the cards, convinced that her deceptive tactics will ensure another win. However, Yumiko reveals her sharp intellect and astute observation skills by discerning Itsuki's scheme. She goes on to demonstrate her exceptional memory by memorizing the cards, ultimately securing victory in the game. Yumiko acknowledges that Itsuki would indeed have emerged victorious had she employed a new deck, showcasing showcasing her exceptional ability to adapt and outsmart her opponents in the high-stakes world of gambling at Hayakawa Private Academy. In the midst of her journey through the world of high-stakes gambling at Hayakawa Private Academy, Yumiko finds herself invited to the Traditional Culture Research Society's clubroom. It's a fateful moment as she arrives just in time to witness Mary's devastating loss in a high-stakes bet, further increasing her already substantial debt by an additional 40 million yen. Yuriko Nishinatoin, Mary's opponent and a member of the student council, as well as the president of the culture club, then extends a daring challenge to Yumiko, the life or death game. The first round of this intense contest ends in a draw, but Yumiko quickly discerns that Yuriko has been cheating throughout the game. Yuriko's deceptive tactics involve having the dealer wear magnets on her hand to manipulate the movement of the swords used in the game. As Yuriko becomes increasingly anxious over the possibility of losing over 2 billion yen, the situation takes a dramatic turn when members of the student council, including the enigmatic council president Kirari Mamabami, make their presence known and decide to observe the game. Ultimately, Yuriko secures a victory in the match, leading Yumiko to suspect that the student council may have employed an elaborate cheating scheme in their favor. By venturing to a room below and using magnets to manipulate the outcome, Yumiko is left with a staggering debt of 310 million yen, thus being classified as a pet and joining the ranks of those who must serve the student body. Yumiko and Mary find themselves ensnared in the labyrinthine web of the student council's control as they are presented with life schedules, documents that dictate their entire futures. These schedules encompass every aspect of their lives, from the careers they will pursue to the individuals they will marry, even specifying the number of children they will have if they fail to clear their debts. The ominous weight of these schedules hangs over them, compelling them to take drastic measures to regain control of their destinies. In response to the growing population of pets, those ensnared by crippling debts, the student council introduces a debt exchange game. In this intriguing contest, groups of 4 students engage in a game of 2-card Indian poker with the aim of swapping their debts. The victorious participant not only eliminates their own debt but also stands a chance to accumulate wealth. Yumiko and Mary, with their intertwined fates, end up in the same group, joined by Jun Kiwatari, a rebellious male student, and another pet named Nanami Tsubomi. Although Jun is not burdened by debts to the same extent, he enters the game with a relatively modest 10 million yen debt, harboring ambitions of using the game to turn a profit. As the game unfolds, Jun appears to deduce that Yumiko and Mary are collaborating, only to find himself ensnared in a complex and deceptive play orchestrated by Mary. As the debt exchange game intensifies, the pressure mounts on Jun, who finds himself in a precarious situation. Yumiko and Mary, sharp as ever, begin to suspect that Jun is manipulating Nanami to cheat on his behalf. With the game evolving into a high-stakes battle of bluffs, Jun becomes increasingly desperate, knowing that failure could result in a substantial debt. As the game progresses, Jun manages to make some headway, but his desperation reaches a breaking point when Nanami has the opportunity to surpass him. In an attempt to maintain his lead, Jun resorts to coercion, trying to force Nanami into folding. However, Yumiko steps in, using her persuasive skills to encourage Nanami to stand up for herself and break free from Jun's control. In a surprising twist, the game's final results reveal that Mary has claimed the top spot, while Jun finds himself at the bottom of the rankings. It is then disclosed that Yumiko and Mary had orchestrated a clever switch of debts between themselves, leaving Yumiko's debt as the least valuable. Consequently, Jun is saddled with Yumiko's colossal debt of 310 million yen, while Yumiko acquires Mary's 50 million yen debt, effectively clearing Mary's debt altogether. Nanami, despite her unchanged debt, emerges from the ordeal with newfound self-esteem and a sense of liberation. In the high-stakes and treacherous world of Hayakawa Private Academy, Yumiko's enigmatic behavior raises questions within the student council. Despite having ample resources to clear her debt, she refrains from doing so, leading the council to suspect that she may be harboring a desire to challenge Kirari, the council's formidable president, to a match. Amidst this tense atmosphere, Midori Akishima, a deranged member of the student council, proposes a chilling game to Yumiko. This twisted contest involves a guessing game, where the victor of each round gains the right to point one of 2 revolvers at the loser, pulling the trigger without knowing which of the gun's 6 chambers holds a deadly bullet. The stakes are exceptionally high, with the possibility of life and death hanging in the balance. Yumiko, undeterred by the ominous nature of the game, agrees to participate but lays out strict conditions. The game must consist of only 3 rounds, Ryota must serve as the dealer, and the loser must pay a staggering sum of 1 billion yen. Midori adds an intriguing twist, stipulating that if the winner intentionally misses her shot, the loser has the right to return fire. As the game begins, Midori fully loads her revolver and manages to outscore Yumiko in the first round. Yumiko issues a warning, advising Midori against pulling the trigger, but the deranged council member remains undeterred by the ominous consequences. The tension escalates as the deadly game unfolds, testing the limits of of nerves, strategy, and risk within the shadowy corridors of the academy. Midori doesn't hesitate to shoot, but the gun is Yumiko's and it is unloaded. Midori reveals that gambling with money makes her feel nothing. She poked her own left eye out as payment for losing against the council president and realized she only likes gambling when the risk is pain or death. In the second round, Yumiko correctly matches every card as Ryota simply uses her card order from round 1. In the final round, Midori puts Ryota under pressure by reversing the screen and giving him 10 seconds. He deals the cards in the same order again. Having figured out the cheating, Ryota is right-handed but was somehow dealing with his left. Yumiko loads 2 bullets, as Midori wants to be shot. She aims to get no matches, knowing that with a full match, Yumiko has to pull the trigger 5 times, guaranteeing at least 1 shot, but Yumiko ruins her plan by getting no matches too, resulting in a draw. Yumiko finds playing with no risk boring and despises Midori for it. Defeated, Midori begs Yumiko to shoot her, but she refuses. Meanwhile, Mary refuses to join the council and swears revenge on Kirari. In the wake of Kirari's departure from Hayakawa Private Academy, the student council is left in a state of uncertainty, grappling with how to address the enigmatic presence of Yumiko. This power vacuum allows the second-year students Keed Minuta and Yumemi Yumamite to seize the opportunity and bolster their own authority within the school. Meanwhile, Itsuki Sumareji, who faces the imminent threat of being disowned by her father following her loss to Yumiko, approaches Yumiko with a proposition. Itsuki offers her unwavering loyalty if Yumiko can defeat Kirari, ascend to the presidency, and secure Itsuki's reinstatement to the student council. Amidst these shifting dynamics, a challenge letter arrives from Yumemi Yumamite, the head of PR and a Japanese idol sensation on YouTube. Yumemi issues a high-stakes wager, betting Yumiko 50 million yen on the outcome of an onstage idol championship competition. The terms of the bet are dire. Should Yumiko lose, she will be forced into an idol duo with Yumemi, leading to the forfeiture of her social life and meaningful relationships, a fate reminiscent of Yumemi's own existence. However, Yumiko employs her cunning and strategic prowess, tricking Yumemi into making candid admissions on a recording device. These revelations expose Yumemi's true thoughts about her fans, labeling them as disgusting pigs. Yumiko seizes this evidence and incorporates it into the bet's conditions. If Yumemi loses the competition, Yumiko will release the incriminating tape, thereby dismantling Yumemi's career as an idol and crushing her dreams of becoming a Hollywood actress. The high-stakes gamble between Yumiko and Yumemi reaches its climax during an in-school concert organized by Keed Minuta, showcasing Yumemi's idol talents. The competition includes a series of games tailored to assess idol skills, such as dancing and singing. Yumemi strategically allows Yumiko to secure victories in several games, creating an illusion that her chances of losing are genuine. However, the pivotal moment arrives with the final game, which requires the participants to guess the birth month of audience members. This game is critical because should Yumiko lose, she would forfeit the entire gamble. Yumemi, who has memorized the birthdays of her entire fan club, exudes confidence in her ability to secure victory. The tension escalates when Yumiko manipulates the outcome by tampering with the dice, resulting in Mary's selection as the audience member whose birthday must be guessed. Yumemi panics, realizing that Mary's birthday falls in March, and her confident facade begins to crumble. Yumiko employs clever tactics, tricking Yumemi into writing 9 on her card when Yumemi had initially chosen 6. However, Mary's birthday is revealed to be in March, not September, and Yumiko emerges victorious by virtue of her guess being 3 months closer to the actual date. Despite Yumiko's subsequent revelation of Yumemi's derogatory remarks about her fans, the idol's devoted supporters remain loyal to her. Yumiko admires Yumemi's unwavering dedication and conviction. She then exposes that someone had attempted to undermine Yumemi's career by sending her a torn-up fan letter along with the challenge match. Yumemi publicly accuses Keed, the most plausible candidate, for orchestrating the sabotage. As Keed vehemently denies any wrongdoing and asserts his intentions to become the next student council president, Yumiko suggests a gamble to determine the truth. She declares it an official match, leaving Keed with no option to refuse. As the unfolding drama at Hayakawa Private Academy continues, Kirari participates in a meeting with the leaders of her extensive family, all of whom belong to the influential Mamabami clan. This family gathering hints at the complex web of power and intrigue that surrounds the academy and its ruling student council. On the stage, Keed finds himself growing increasingly convinced that Yumiko is merely a gambling addict who derives pleasure from the thrill of wagering. This perception drives him to challenge her further, leading to a high-stakes match that could potentially expose hidden facets of Yumiko's character. Ririka, the enigmatic masked vice president, proposes a variant of poker in which specific rules dictate the course of the game. In this modified version, players are prohibited from folding or calling, ensuring that each round will have a definitive winner. Moreover, the last player to raise holds the power to determine whether a stronger or weaker hand prevails. Each participant is allowed to discard and replace any number of cards once before placing bets. With her 310 million yen converted into 31 poker chips, Yumiko enters the game, while Keed purchases a staggering 100 chips for 1 billion yen. The initial round sees Yumiko clinching victory, prompting Keed to consider her passion for risk-taking as a factor in her gameplay strategy. He employs his formidable calculations and intellectual prowess to secure wins in subsequent rounds. Facing the prospect of rebuying chips, Yumiko reaches out to Atsuki, who is in the audience, for financial support. Despite Keed's insults and an offer to return her student council seat, Yumiko steadfastly defends Atsuki as her friend. She encourages Atsuki to embrace risk-taking for the sake of her aspirations, rather than accepting the seat from Keed as the safer option. Fueled by determination, Atsuki steps forward and purchases 100 chips on Yumiko's behalf, setting the stage for a thrilling and suspenseful continuation of their high-stakes gamble. The intense gambling showdown at Hayakawa Private Academy continues to unfold, with Kirari making a shocking announcement to the dismay of other family heads. As the stakes escalate, Yumiko and Keed engage in a relentless betting war, with Yumiko eventually depleting her chip reserves. Undeterred, they both continue to purchase more chips, pushing the limits of their wagers. In a daring move, Yumiko proposes a bet of life itself, suggesting that Atsuki wager her life schedule. Initially hesitant, Atsuki ultimately accepts the bet after inspecting Yumiko's cards and, in an act of extreme commitment, forcibly removes her own fingernails. Ririka, who initially declared Atsuki's life schedule to be worth 10 billion based on her family's wealth, stands by the decision despite Keed's objections. However, a twist occurs when Ririka unveils her true identity by removing her mask, revealing that she is Kirari's identical twin sister. With Yumiko's total bet now amounting to 12 billion, Keed is forced into a desperate move, wagering his own life schedule for 10 billion and choosing the strong option. Unbeknownst to him, Yumiko masterminded a plot to deceive Keed into selecting strong. She reveals her hand of 3 jacks, trumping Keed's 3 eights. Keed's loss leaves him billions in debt and results in his removal from the student council. The complex web of motives and attractions between Yumiko and Kirari comes to the forefront as they finally prepare to face each other in a high-stakes gambling match, setting the stage for an electrifying climax to their rivalry. In the climactic match between Yumiko and Kirari, council member Runa Yamazuki presides as the judge, and the stakes are expulsion for the loser. Kirari selects the Tarot Cards of Fate game as the battleground. The game begins with Yumiko drawing a card and earning 1 point. Kirari then selects a card worth 21 points, but keeps it facing away from Yumiko, setting the challenge. Yumiko must accumulate 20 points, or have Ryota locate the Fool card, which could potentially lead to a win. Amidst the tension, Sumeragi and Maid believe they have identified the Fool card, marked with a lipstick smudge. Yumiko, however, asserts that she alone should bear the risk of expulsion. Still, Ryota, driven by his loyalty to Yumiko, decides to share her fate. As Ryota is on the verge of choosing the marked card, he has a last-minute change of heart, suspecting it may be a trap set by Kirari. Ultimately, he selects a card at random, adding an extra layer of thrill to the game. The chosen card turns out to be worth 20 points, matching Kirari's score. With both players tied, Runa declares the match a draw, and no one faces expulsion. However, both Yumiko and Kirari acknowledge that their gambling rivalry is far from over, and they agree to engage in future battles. In a closing dialogue, Ryota reflects on how Yumiko has left a profound impact on everyone she has gambled with. Kirari decides to dissolve the student council, and Yumiko continues her journey as a compulsive gambler, ensuring that the thrilling world of high-stakes gambling remains an integral part of her life. Thank you for watching, and write in the comments on what anime to make the next retelling.